Hello students of class 12. We have already done 2 poems of your class 12 syllabus, that is Asleep in the Valley and The Poetry of Earth. 2 more poems are there. One is On Killing a Tree and another is Shall I Compare Thee to Summer's Day, sonnet by Shakespeare, sonnet 18. Today we are going to focus on the poem On Killing a Tree by G. Patel. Now G. Patel, he is a painter and a poet, and he is also a medical practitioner, that is he is a doctor himself, a general physician. And being a doctor, we will find that in this poem, he has used many images, and rather we can say he has used many clinical imagery. He writes this poem in free verse, and it also says that he brings the flavor of everyday speech in his poetry, that is just as the way we talk and the casual conversation that we have in our everyday speech, that is brought out through his poems. Another thing is some of his notable works are mirroring and How Do You Withstand Body. Another thing is that he was involved with the green movement, that is protection of trees, in that way, protection of the environment, that is the green movement. So here in this poem we will find that it is written on killing a tree. Now he has taken a very laborious, he describes in a very laborious way that how a tree grows, and finally, even if a tree is hit repeatedly, still a tree does not die. Only when it is uprooted, that is, it is completely pulled out of from the earth, only then a tree dies. So as it said, the poem is about, now he is talking of how to kill a tree, but what he actually means is he's trying to create an awareness of how to protect the environment and not to kill a tree. He is using a reverse psychology to make people aware of preservation of trees. The poem is about the harm done to the environment by human beings. Yes, that is deforestation. People are cutting down trees to build houses, to build, for their own sake. Human beings have become very cruel in nature. They don't understand that trees are their source of sustenance. In a voice of sarcasm and irony, that is, he's saying something, but he means exactly the opposite. The poet speaks of man's violence and impatience towards nature. Yes, whenever we want, and we have now understood, right, what is the impact of deforestation, what is the impact of, recklessly using up our resources for our own ends. We have already had climate change, global warming, and now it's the COVID-19. Now let us come to the poem. It takes much time to kill a tree. So what he means, it takes much time to kill a tree. Not a simple jab of knife will do it. It has grown slowly, consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crust, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous hide, sprouting leaves. So hack and chop, but this alone won't do it. Not so much pain will do it. The bleeding bark will heal. and from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs, miniature boughs, and if unchecked will expand again to former size. No, the root is to be pulled out of the anchoring earth. It is to be roped, tied, and pulled out, snapped out, or pulled out entirely out from the earth cave, and the strength of the tree exposed. The source white and wet, the most sensitive hidden for years inside the earth. Then the matter of scorching and choking in the sun and air, browning, hardening, twisting, withering, and then it is done. So he is telling us, how a tree can be killed. Now, do we use the word killed with a tree? No, we generally don't use it in that way. Actually, he is thinking of a tree as a human being. Okay, and this felling of trees has been compared to an act of murder, and that is the reason why he is using the term killing. Now, what does he say? It takes much time to kill a tree. That is, to completely destroy a tree, it takes lot of effort. Not a simple jab of knife. Jab means a blow. Okay. Not a simple jab of knife will do it. Knife. See, all the clerical terms he is using. Knife. That is, what he is meaning to say is that axe here. Okay. So, generally a tree is cut down with an axe. It can be, the modernized way of, mechanical way of killing, cutting down trees. So that means, we hit the tree with an axe, okay, to cut it down. So he's saying that only a single blow of an axe won't kill a tree. It has grown. It here means the tree. The tree has grown, slowly consuming the earth, rising out of it, slowly consuming the earth. That is what happens, from a seed, it first grows into a small sapling, then into a plant, and finally into a big tree. So a lot of it remains inside. So that's why it says that it has grown, slowly consuming the earth. So before we can see the plant above the earth's surface, okay, that is, before it comes out of the earth's surface, it remains inside the earth for a long time, and it takes all the nutrients that it needs to grow. So consuming the earth, that is taking the nutrients, rising out of it, that is a tree, rising out of the earth's crust. Rising out of it, feeding upon its crust. That is, crust is the outer layer of the earth. So before that, as a seed, it remains in that way, and the roots starts forming, and finally, one day you see the plant growing, means coming out of the earth. Okay, we can see it outside the earth's surface, absorbing years of sunlight. So how does a tree grow? It takes in sunlight, air, water. So all these are the nutrients that the tree takes in, and it takes in for years and years together, and finally it grows into a big tree. And out of its leprous hide sprouting leaves. Now when a tree has grown big, okay, when a tree stands in a place years and years, if you see the bark of the tree, okay, you will find it that it has become very rough, scaly. This leprous hide means rough and scaly and discolored. And leprous means it is being compared to this hide. It means the bark of a tree. So the bark of a tree has become rough, scaly and discolored, and this is being compared to the skin of a leprosy patient. Nowadays you don't find it, okay, but previously there used to be a lot of leprosy patients, where this is a kind of a disease, okay, with a skin disease where people lose hands and legs, and wherever it's a very painful disease. So generally what happens is that the skin becomes discolored, okay. So in the same way the tree also becomes discolored. But sprouting leaves means even though it has become discolored, even though the bark has become rough and scaly, still one can see new leaves coming out of it, small new leaves coming out of it. So hack and chop, hacking of a tree, hack and chop. But this alone won't do it. This alone won't do it means even if you hack and chop, you cannot destroy a tree completely. Not so much pain will do it. Not so much pain. Now we all know that tree is a living thing, and just as if somebody hurts us, we feel the pain. In the same way, trees also feel the pain. But what the poet is trying to say, that even if you hack and chop, it will feel the pain, okay, but it will not get destroyed. You cannot destroy a tree. The bleeding bark will heal, okay, when you constantly hit a tree, okay, with an axe or whatever, a cutter, okay, constantly, you can see there forms a wound, and out of the wound the bleeding bark, see, bleeding, okay, the leprous hide, all these are very clinical images that he is using. Hide, bleeding, generally a human beings bleed, a tree doesn't, we don't use the word, so he is referring to the sap that comes out of it, okay. So bleeding bark will heal. So heal means it will once again become it will recover. Healing means recovery. So even though if you hack and chop a tree, it will still recover. It will become normal again. And from close to the ground, say it's a big tree and you have cut down till the stump, okay, and you have left it there. From close to the ground will rise curled green twigs, that is the very thin and small branches, okay, will come out, and twigs and miniature boughs means branches, okay. So even if a tree is cut down till the stump, still we can find new leaves growing out of it. And if the tree is left, okay, which if unchecked will expand again to its former size. So if we let it remain, okay, undisturbed, then and allow it to grow, once again it will grow into a big tree. So what it is talking about is, what the poet is talking about is the regenerative power. The tree has such a power in itself that it is not easy just to chop down and completely destroy a tree. We stop here today. We'll do the rest of the poem the next day. Thank you, students.